do his duty at this point.
Okay, morning, Tim.
Good morning.
Okay, Kevin, can you introduce the guests and the staff, please?
Sure. Start with staff. We have Austin Wheelock, the Chief Executive Officer of the agency, myself, and the Chief Financial Officer of the agency. Our General Counsel, Kevin Caracole, is here, and that's all for staff. For guests.
Nate too.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Nate Evans, also from staff. Nate Evans from Operations, Oswego County is here. My apologies. As far as guests, we have RJ Shavat coming for one of the agenda items relating to iFreeze, and Brian Heffron, Brian will be giving us a presentation today as indicated on the agenda. So that's it, Gary, for staff and guests at this time.
Okay, thank you. Tim, could you do a roll call of the board members present, please?
Absolutely. Gary Toth.
Present.
Nick Canale.
By phone.
Present.
Lechick.
Present.
Tim Stoll. I'm here. Mark Greco.
Here.
Trish Peter Clark.
Here.
Barry Trimble. Please excuse. We have four.
Okay, thanks, Tim. Since I can't make the meeting in person, what I'm going to do is have Nick Canale run the meeting as acting chairman since he's there with everyone. So, Nick, it's all yours.
Thanks, Gary. Notice the minutes. There were any questions? You all got on the portal? We want to make a motion to approve the minutes. Len Schick.
I'll second.
Second, Trish Peter Clark. All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes. Notice the meeting was in the Pale Times on the 8th. Treasurer's report. We didn't have treasurer's report this time.
We're tabling that for today because we had the meeting a little bit earlier in the month. We actually didn't get the final statements until yesterday. We didn't have time to put those together, so we'll do a combined December, combined November and December and January.
Okay. So we'll move along from that. Number 4 is Lakeview Holdings LLC, iFreeze. Consent to ownership change, and who's going to take that, RJ or?
We can start it and then turn it over to RJ.
So should I give a quick introduction? So we have a ongoing pilot agreement as well as financing in place with a company called iFreeze down in Fulton, a company that some years back bought the freezer at the former Bird's Eye freezer, and the iFreeze has renovated that building, rebuilt the refrigeration system. It's been operating as a third-party cold storage logistics facility since they opened about 3 years ago. And now there is a deal going on, the deal being made to sell the business to West Glacier Management, or an entity owner controlled by them. And for West Glacier Management, we have on the phone RJ, or on Zoom. But basically, Lakeview Holdings has asked for the IDA's consent to transfer the ongoing pilot agreement to the new owners as part of this sale. Financing would be paid off. It's in the current owner's name, and as the building is collateral, so it's typical when sold, it would be paid off. The pilot agreement would change hands with the new owner. So on Zoom we have RJ Shavat from West Glacier Management, and maybe RJ, I could turn it over to you to give an overview of yourself and what your plans are for the building.
Sure, nice to meet everyone. So I grew up in upstate New York. I grew up in Bullsfield, which is just outside of Albany. Grew up there, born, raised. I went to Cornell University, which is a couple hours south in Ithaca. And I basically oversee our family investments. In our family investments, we have a decent amount of real estate. We have some operating businesses and some operating businesses on real estate. And we currently own another cold storage facility down in South Florida. We really like the business, and we think that we're good operators of the business. And when the opportunity came up to work with Tim and buy iFreeze, one, we have the investment dollars in order to make the investment. Two, we really like the cold storage business. And three, we really know upstate New York very, very, very well. And so our intent for the business is to take an already great business that Tim Martins has already progressed to, but also improve it over time and continuously get better. So the other businesses that we have, we own the Herkimer Diamond Mines, which is down in Herkimer, New York. And we've owned that for the last 40 plus years. And we also own we have owned over the years several restaurants, which led us to the cold storage business and now our expansion into the cold storage business. So we're excited about the opportunity.
RJ, this is Austin. I had a couple questions for you. Are you, as part of acquiring this facility, do you have any plans to make further investments in the facility in terms of more modernizations or expansions?
It's very possible. There's an opportunity. As you probably know, the building is just over 120,000 square feet, and right now it runs at a very high occupancy. But I think we can continue to increase that occupancy. But over time, it might get to the point where the building is so full that we have an expansion opportunity. And so there's an opportunity to expand it by about 80,000 square feet. So basically taking it from 120,000 to 200,000. I would not say that's in the cards over the next couple of years. It might be a lot more of a longer term vision. So in the short run, probably not. In the long run, potentially, but it depends on a whole bunch of different factors.
Okay, and then so my second question is, your plan at this point then is to maintain the business as it is in terms of employment and sort of the customers and you know the type of business it is. You guys aren't looking to make any major structural changes in terms of how the facility operates.
Yeah, I would say that we're looking to expand on it. So Tim obviously has a payroll of many employees who oversee the property for him. Our intent is we have a few other people who we've worked with in the past, who we know and trust, who will also supplement the current team. So we'll be increasing the amount of staffing. And then with respect to customers, there's currently 30 to 35 or so customers who store various material within the building. We have had several conversations with several other customers who are much larger and names who you are probably aware of or have heard, to also look to be customers for the building. So not only look to expand the payroll and the staffing, but also expand the customer base from 30 to 35 to something hopefully more than that.
That was my question. Thank you.
What's the term of the pilot?
So we just finished the fourth year. So it's a 20-year pilot. We just finished the fourth year. So 2024 will be the fifth year.
Yeah. There's no change in.
No change. Yeah, it would just continue. It's a 20-year basically UTEP schedule for the building. It is a UTEP schedule.
Is this a bulk transfer? In other words, are you acquiring Lakeview Holdings and iFreeze, or just assuming their benefits?
We are acquiring the assets of the business, and we are acquiring the building and the land, so the real property. But we are not purchasing the actual entities themselves. We're not in the business of trying to understand what other assets or liabilities, for that matter, within the LLCs that the current owner has. So it's an asset purchase, not an entity purchase, which is why we were hoping to get the assignment from the current owners entities to my entities, but continue with the same program. Does that make sense?
It does, yep.
And then RJ, when do you plan to close on the transaction as you see things now?
This is the last part of the diligence process.
Okay.
Everything else is done. We've gotten our building inspection. We've gotten an environmental phase 1 done. Everything comes back pretty clean. There are a few blemishes here and there, but for the most part, it's okay. So this is the last part of the diligence. At the request of the seller, for tax purposes, he would like to close in early 2024. I want to close as soon as possible after today, once, if and when we get the approval with the assignment. So my intent would be to close probably the first week of January of 2024.
Sure. We can meet that. This is Kevin Lamontagne speaking. We can meet that pace if the board chooses to approve things today. The next step, we have a resolution that will be approved today that will be kind of executed and given to you and council. And then with that, basically, you just have to work with our special counsel for this type of transaction at Barclay Damon to complete, Amanda Fitzgerald and team, who you've already been in touch with, to complete the transaction. The assignment documents, basically.
Okay.
And whatever due diligence
Okay,
steps
great.
they have. They may have a few other due diligence, corporate documents, things of that nature. But we should be able to meet that timeline.
And Kevin, you've spoken to the leadership of iFreeze about this?
Yes, I have. And Tim and his counsel. Yeah, and we've also received letters. I have had conversations, but we've received, in a sense, a formal request both from RJ and his company, and Tim Martins and his company.
Yeah, we wouldn't have proceeded if we didn't have a formal letter from the seller, confirming the sale, and then also from the buyer. So.
But also, they've confirmed everything RJ said as far as what their plans
This
are.
is okay legally for us to
Oh, yeah.
do it this way?
Yeah, we've done
This type of,
plenty of times.
without him acquiring the entity.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, the language within the pilot agreement and the company and agency leases allow for the assignment or assumption of those documents upon the consent of the agency. Right? And so the resolution that's going to be before you here shortly is to consent to the sale of certain project facility, that being the Lakeview and iFreeze project facility, authorizing the execution and delivery of an assignment and assumption agreement, and then just approving this deal and all of the documentation that goes along with it.
Anybody else got any other questions on this project?
I just want to say it's a good project. It's going to kind of ensure the sustainability of the iFreeze project there. If they don't go through, I don't know what the long-term viability of that business is if they don't. If this business isn't the purchaser, I guess.
Okay. That said, I guess we'll entertain a motion for the consent to the ownership change based on the language that Kevin just said.
I'll make that motion. This is Gary.
Gary? We have a second?
I'll second.
Mark Greco? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? None. Motion passes. Good luck, RJ. Thank you.
RJ, I'll be in touch.
Congratulations, today. Good luck to you and your wife.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for taking the time. Much appreciated, and hopefully we continue with the success Tim has already put in place. And so I appreciate everyone's time this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay. Looks like City Hall CSP Tech is up next on the list.
Okay, thank you,
All
sir.
right.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, so I just want to give Brian a real quick introduction. So those who don't know Brian, he's been with City BOCES and P-Tech for how many years now, Brian?
Ooh, this is going to be year 9.
And you've just joined the Operations Oswego County Board recently this past year.
Yeah.
So it's been a great partner so far, and you guys have a really exciting project that you are bringing to the attention of the IDA today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I'm always impressed how somebody in that position can remain so calm. I go back on 3 different occasions. I can't recall having that sense of calmness. Yeah, so thank you for allowing me to come in. And so, as also mentioned, I've been with City BOCES here for about 9 years. Prior to this position, as Administrator of Workforce Development, I was actually principal of the Oswego County P-Tech program. Are we all familiar with P-Tech and the model? I didn't want to spend too much time on that if we got that. And then prior to that, I was a teacher in the program. So sort of, education on workforce development program sort of has been in my blood since the beginning. My parents were both in the manufacturing field as well, so they are very proud, obviously, of the work that I've been trying to do in Oswego County and supporting these initiatives. Just to recap, 2015, industry, Novelis, Constellation, Hutamaki, folks came to City and said, look, we're facing a skill crisis here. Our workforce is retiring, retiring earlier. Our pool of candidates that we have is not going to keep up with those retirements, and we're obviously projecting future economic growth. And so we need to find a program that can really focus on being able to produce students who can move into the workforce, who have the skills that can take the jobs that are going to be available. And these are lucrative jobs. These are jobs that really can transform students' lives and support the economy here of our region. So 8 years later, we are on our 8th cohort into the program. We take 40 students per year into this program. The idea is that we remove all barriers. So students have 5 years to complete, or excuse me, up to 6 years to complete a high school Regents diploma, a 2-year associate's degree from Oswego Community College in either mechanical or electric technology, and then all that comes with partnering with our local manufacturing business, which means mentoring, which means internships, and job shadowing, and visitations, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The idea is that students seamlessly transition right from their graduation into employment. And I just mentioned this the other day, that it's hard to find a manufacturer right now in Oswego County that doesn't have, a P-Tech graduate that is working there. And I will say, when we remove barriers, about 60% of our student population right now are economically disadvantaged. 50%, it's 50%, it's their first generation in college. So we have stories and stories and stories of students who come from very poor, very significant disadvantaged situations who have been able to go through this program, enter the workforce. Our starting salary last year for our graduates was over $60,000, $62,000. So you can imagine, for an 18-year-old with no college debt, because the college degree is paid for, and they have the support of having mentorship and having internship, that this program has been very successful in being able to get our students to move into these positions and stay there. The other thing that I'll mention that I'm really proud of is that our students stay in Oswego County. That many of our students are working for Oswego County manufacturers. We do have a few that are working for Carrier and G.A. Braun and Lockheed Martin, but even those students are calling Oswego County home. So we look at this as an economic initiative, right? These students are going to stay, raise their families here in the county. They may move, because that is something that we see with each generation, that they may move from place to place in terms of the company that they work for. We expect students will, most likely when Micron comes in, we'll have students that move and take on opportunities with Micron. But the key to this is that they'll call Oswego County their home and continue to stay in the region. What we are doing is we're looking at the largest investment into P-Tech programs since we opened, once again, in 2015. We have had limited space on City BOCES campus. That program has seen an increase in students pursuing career tech programming. That is something that all school districts right now are seeing, that students are pursuing less opportunities with college, and many of them are pursuing going right into careers and trades. And as a result, the space on that campus is limited. The majority of our students spend the first 2 years in the program on City's campus in Mexico, and then they have to travel to OCC in years 3 and 4 and 5 to take college classes. And these college classes that they're taking are very hands-on, working with lots of equipment that one would expect in a technical program. However, if you were to come to our facilities, and Austin had the chance to tour our facilities last week, I think you'd be shocked to find that a program that has had success, that is focused on electric and mechanical technology, we don't really have a suitable lab space for students to get exposed to at a very early age in the program with hands-on equipment. Sure, they can build, paper towers. They can take, spaghetti sticks and make some sort of a tower or anything like that out of that stuff, which is all great for being able to get kids together and work as a team and all that stuff like that. But the reality is that what we are seeing over the last 8 years is that more students that are pursuing this program have strong backgrounds already through their own family experiences of working with equipment, right? They're with their father, or they're with a grandfather, or they're with whoever, and they're tinkering with engines and pulling stuff out. So to have students show up at our program and spend the first 2 years building, paper towers, we got to do better. We got to get their interest. We got to keep their interest, and we can't delay it till year 3 and 4 into the program. So what we're looking at doing is taking an existing space on property and being able to do renovations on that space that would give P-TECH their very own lab. That lab would focus on 2 things. Feedback from our industry partners says that our students need more and more experience with hand and power tools. So we have a whole section of that space that would be renovated that is just focused on doing projects that are using hand and power tools. The second portion of that lab space would be dedicated to sort of the future of manufacturing. We're talking about robotics. So our industry partners are talking more and more about the need of students to be exposed to and use of robotics in their skill set. And so we would be purchasing equipment that gives them the opportunity to really get accustomed to those experiences. And thus, when they transfer to OCC, they would have a much easier time being able to bring those skills to the classroom. OCC has already been very clear to point out to this, and they have several P-TECH programs that they work with, including several in Syracuse City School District. OCC has pointed out to us that they are so excited to work with Oswego County kids because they come in with a passion, they come in with an excitement, they come in with a little bit of experience as well. We really want to capitalize that. We want to be able to give our kids the opportunity to seamlessly get through that college experience. And the reason why is because we want to get them as quickly out to our industry. Our industry is continuing to work on being able to lower some of their requirements and standards that are corporate policies to give our kids more access to the facilities at an earlier age. It used to be that we had to wait till we were 18 to get into those companies. Now we have companies like Huhtamaki, Novelis, and Constellation that are actually changing some of their policy to allow more P-TECH students in at an earlier age. And the reason why is because it becomes very competitive. Those that start to get access to students at 17 are building inroads with them, while the others have to wait sometimes till they're 18 and 19. So, our P-TECH is run by a governance committee that's made up of all industry partners from all of our areas here in the county. They work together great, but they are telling us that we need to upgrade our facilities, and we feel like now is the time to do that. So what we are doing is we're pursuing an ESD, Workforce Development Capital Grant. That grant couldn't be more sort of on target of what we're trying to do. It's really focused on being able to take training facilities and say, what do you want to make to bring more students into pursuing these careers. And we feel that this lab is going to do that. It's going to give us an opportunity to really be able to keep kids engaged and be able to increase our outcomes. So overall, what we're looking at is a $1.4 million project. The grant matches up to 50%, looking for partnership with public and private funds. So what we are doing right now is we are working with our community, our industry partners, to be able to support this project. We feel once again that this is a community investment and that these students, once again, that we can show are staying here, are working for the companies here in this region and benefit, all residents here of Oswego County. So about out of that $1.4 million project, we're looking about $1 million is going towards renovations of the facilities because the existing space right now needs to be in compliance with New York State educational law in terms of using it as a classroom space. So it would be investing into air, investing into sewer, investing into those pieces, about $1 million to keep the facility up to par with what we need it to do. Then about $400,000 of that remaining project will be put into equipment. So what we're looking for is, once again, is to have up-to-date equipment that can, sort of be able to give our kids the opportunity to take these skills and have them be relevant. We've had donations before of older equipment, but honestly, in talking with our industry folks, a lot of that equipment is going out. And we need to be ready for these kids to be able to have the skills necessary, to kind of compete, with other applicants that are going to be coming to the area as we get more companies that are attracting folks from around the region, to take on job opportunities. So the CMA lab, once again, what we're looking at right now is that we are having a December 29th deadline because who likes to, make things easier on, the holidays. So what we're looking at is the 29th deadline to be able to submit this workforce development application grant for the grant. As I sort of stated on the sheet before, we've had commitment and partnership. Some of it is financial, some of it is just letters of support for folks from Novella, Sudamaki, our Oswego County Legislature last week, as part of their budget, appropriated $500,000 to this project. It is a sign that they believe and they recognize the value of this program. We're very excited, and I want to just thank Tim for the work that you did last year and being able to really bring this to their attention. So thank you. So we're making great grounds in being able to pursue this grant. We're really excited. City leadership, Chris Todd, Roseanne Bain are 100% backing this project, and we're hoping to have that application fully in by the 29th and pursue this programming. If we were to get awarded the amount that we are asking for, we're looking at groundbreaking happening in fall of 2024 with the goal by winter or early spring that we'd be able to have our first students inside that lab and ready to go.
Okay. Any questions for Brian about the CMA lab project? I think what we're going to be addressing it further down the agenda in our executive session, but I think if there's any questions, ask now before Brian has to take off.
Okay. Yeah, this is Gary. Brian, if you involved the building trades in your partnership?
Yeah, so right now, so we have two sort of areas that we're focusing on. One is the manufacturing sector, which is our traditional partners. But we have been working on, and actually this is a sort of a separate entity that we're working on as well, is being from City BOCES, is being able to support a grant through workforce development on a project that is going to mimic what Syracuse Builds does down in Onondaga County. So City is right now supporting that opportunity, and that's going to be focused a lot on being able to support students moving into apprenticeships for the trades fields.
Okay, excellent, because with the building trades, I'm sure you've been on board with them. Letters of support, they can help you with the evolving skills, the tools, equipment that are needed for the expanding industry that's coming into this area. And just having them at the board giving advice would be, or having them as a partner giving advice would be very, very helpful.
Yeah, no, I do appreciate it, and I agree. I think right now there's some great work that's being done by the folks in the trades field to enhance their facilities, to prepare for an increase in interest in apprenticeships, and City is fully behind that, working with our curriculum to align up with what they're doing in these pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship programs. So lots of excitement happening and interest happening in being able to support those initiatives as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just, a couple of questions about graduation rate, dropout
Yeah.
rate, employment rate. I mean, you said you've been doing this for 8 years, at 40 students a year, that's 320 kids.
Yeah.
What's our success? I mean,
Yeah.
what are we looking at?
Yeah, so when you're talking about the course of the program, keep in mind that students sort of go through the program at different sort of speeds. So, there are some students that graduate, and typically graduate in 5 years. We have some students that use that 6th year, and then we have some students, I can't imagine, complete this all in 4 years. So you talk about a higher level of stress, right? So what we're looking at right now is we're hovering around 50% of the cohort is graduating and moving into industry, all right? And the reason, that's one of the things that we're focused on in this lab is that when we looked at the reason why students may, go through when we have attrition and everything like that, part of that thing is that we start in 8th grade recruiting. Now, I don't know if everybody remembers what they wanted to do in 8th grade, but that was probably all over the map, right? So what we have found is that students, CTE programs start in 11th grade. And by then, that's a little bit closer, they're a little bit more exposed and everything like that. But we start early on. What we found is that when our program, the way that we have built it, is that most of the students don't get hands-on experience to start using the machinery until they're down at OCC in 11th grade. And they're on campus at City looking around at CTE students who are driving trucks and doing all this stuff and thinking, well, that's what I want to do, not be sitting in the classroom working on geometry. Now, the nature of the beast is that we got to get them through college, so we know there's a strong academic emphasis. What we believe that this lab is going to be able to do is sort of solve that missing link. Being able to hook them into their interests, being able to balance out the academic with that physical work of using their hands. I'll tell you as an educator for all my life, the key to success of any student comes down to engagement, right? I can get any student to be able to follow that math lesson if I can get them engaged. And this simply comes down to solving that issue of looking at engagement. So what we're looking at is being able to take that 50% that we lost through attrition. We're looking at why they left, and our exit interviews show us that they are mostly comes down to the fact that either A, they just needed or wanted to have something they thought it was going to be more physical, labor in the beginning, or B, they end up saying, I want to become a cook, or I want to become,
Sure.
you know what I mean, something else. So that's it's that area of the kids who are saying that we want to sort of get a bigger hook and drive them in. The other thing I would just say this is that P-TECH, we feel, is the strongest program to lead students into this new phase of opportunities that are coming down the road. We want the best. When I mean best, I don't mean academically best. When we had 95 students apply to the program last year. We took in 40. And our requirements for that program, we sit down and an industry does an interview. While we certainly look at attendance and we look at behavior and everything like that, what we're really looking for are kids who really have a passion of wanting to do this at an early age and showing that. Because that's over the long haul is what gets them through sort of the ups and downs of having to take college classes as a 15, 16-year-old student. So really it's kind of playing to those needs and saying, looking for the kids who are coming in with the strengths of wanting to already have experience and being wanting to put that in use immediately of getting more hands-on work.
Brian, I have a question for you. And
Yep.
I know you guys have talked about that, 40 is your current size based on the monetary participation from the school districts. 40 is what you could do. Would this, and I'm not saying would it allow you, that this project would allow you to increase, but would this give you the physical capacity to host and have more students participate if the financial participation was there from the school districts?
Absolutely.
Okay.
One of the biggest areas that I believe that our districts would be willing to open up and increase numbers is taking a look at the work that students with disabilities, when we look at those populations of students, when we look at, we have many students who come into the program who have IEPs, and many of those students do very well and graduate. What I would like to be able to do is have them be able to look at this program as an opportunity for those students or students that are just not engaged in the traditional academic status to say that this program, delivers outcomes that is worth increasing our financial contribution and thus that would increase those numbers, right? They know this program is working, but we have to speak to them on a different language. And I think that's the angle that we want to go and being able to use this lab to help us do that.
Are there other models of this program? throughout the state?
There are. So in fact, not only across the state, across the country, and the world, the P-TECH model, I think it was 2014 in Brooklyn, and it spread like wildfire. And the state continues to open up RFPs for new cohorts across the state to come in. The only requirement is that it has to be in a field of STEM, so you see this in all sorts of different STEM areas. But the advanced manufacturing, the one that we opened in 2015, I will say still is a statewide recognized successful manner. We had folks from SED, from the Department of Ed, come up last year and tour our facility. And the feedback that they gave us was that we are taking your model, we are taking your relationships that you have to industry and the things that you're doing, and we're using that to be able to support programs that are just lifting off the ground. So we're very proud of that. We know that we're on the state's map of having a model that's successful.
So I was looking for the article and I couldn't find it, but I just read briefly the Micron investment in Syracuse that has the computer, like the lab-based stuff. So what's the similarity between what you're trying to develop and what's being proposed in Onondaga County?
Yeah, so very similar. So one of the things that's really exciting is that they have put a significant investment in an Onondaga Community College to build their clean room. And I think you might have read that in the paper. What we're really excited about is that we had the opportunity and we jumped on it to open up a brand new pathway. We offer 3 pathways now. The first 2 were traditional electrical and mechanical technology. Those for students that are interested in pursuing careers as a technician in a sort of traditional manufacturing field. But the new field, the new area that sort of supports a lot of the robotics and what Micron is proposing is a field called electromechanical technology, which is sort of a combination of a little of both, but more emphasis on robotics. We worked with OCC and we are one of 3 programs in the region that are the first to pursue that pathway. So we offer 3 programs right now. And one of them is dedicated strictly towards pursuing that pathway that will lead to opportunities with Micron. Micron has been very open to identify that even kids in any of these pathways would be looked upon as potential, entry-level positions into their organization. And our folks, as I sort of pointed out before, Micron, who's our latest partner to be a part of this program, is working with us on our curriculum. Right now, we're hoping that the curriculum will turn into more of financial support as they start to grow out a little bit more. But they've been working on with curriculum and being able to make sure that we are aligning the skill sets that are in the classroom to the skill sets that they're looking for employees.
And have you requested any kind of financial support from Micron for your project?
So we met with Micron 2 weeks ago to propose the project. At this time, what they're proposing is they're going to support this through a letter of support, but they also are looking into opportunities as they sort of grow out to be able to support. Right now, their focus on their money has been with Oswego County is with STEM education initiatives. So I chair, just as a side note, I chair the pre-K through 16 steering committee for Oswego County for Micron steering committee. And Micron is investing money into STEM programming into our school districts to promote STEM, to increase awareness, to get more students to pursue those fields and pursue the pathways that exist at the high school level, which benefits P-TECH in the long run anyways, right? But I do look forward to continuing conversation as they start to expand out and get more familiar with their pathway, to look for more direct investment.
Any other questions at this time?
Just one, I'm usually the blunt person here.
That's okay.
What is it, because you haven't mentioned what you're looking for.
Oh,
I mean, I'd like it to be,
yeah.
Well, let me say, so after Brian had made a presentation, I was at P-TECH facilities in Mexico a couple weeks ago, and then I was at the EDP meeting. It was apparent that for them to have the most competitive application that they can have for this December 29th, they have to be able to show that there is financial matching commitment, and the county stepped forward with, at the time they were talking about 400 and some odd thousand, it looks like they came up to 500,000. What we will be discussing is looking potentially making a financial commitment of potentially $100,000 to, similar to what we had done originally for the Advanced Manufacturing Institute at CUNY Community College, looking at doing something similar for this project. Probably in terms of, we would have to discuss how that would be done. But that's sort of what we'd be looking to do, to make sure that if they have to come up with 730,000, I think it was, to match the 730,000, and you guys have until December 29th to figure that out.
Yeah.
As well as with your partners at Budimaki and Novelis and others. I guess my other question based on that, their commitment may not be specifically in dollars, it may be in kind in donating equipment and things like that. However, it may not be necessarily the equipment you guys need, the most up-to-date stuff. So that's something I think we would discuss potentially as maybe a way to purchase and lease equipment or something like that to you guys in a way that you guys would have cutting-edge equipment to utilize in that facility.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's our big thing right now is that, you know what I mean, with at the end of the day, if the grant, if we were not awarded the grant, our folks and who have partnered with us has said we're committed to being able to, enhance the facility as is that we need to do to make sure, that you can at least take advantage of being able to use the equipment moving forward. So, the renovations, if city looks at this, and that's why when I sit down with cities to take a look at overall how much support we were able to get on RUP, because of the commitments that we've had already, I feel strongly that city is going to look at whatever sort of shortfall and be able to say we're going to cross the line with this. We'll find ways to be able, to support whatever is remaining on our sheet, and that's our goal here. Yeah.
So have the partners like Constellation or Budimaki, have they given any kind of monetary support for the project as a help with the match?
So we've had two commitments. One is the commitment of the purchase of equipment, and being able to focus on the equipment that is needed for the facility. The other has been a financial commitment. We've had financial commitments. Novelis has written us a letter of support saying that they are going to be contributing significant dollars over a 5 to 10 year period. So what that financial number is, they have not been able to identify yet. So we're sort of in this position right now where we are going to sort of put through the support on the letter in the application, and then once those dollars start to come in, that would be something that either that repays back what city puts into. Exactly.
Because I think it's very similar way back when we had a shortfall of registered nurses.
Yep.
Right? So the large entities in the county came together. With the time it was the Memorial Hospital, through Health and our Rural Health Network and some of our primary care offices, and we gave so much money per year to bring a program to CUNY Community College. In return, we got those RNs to our facilities.
Exactly.
So it was an investment, but it's been a sustainable program
Yeah.
until CUNY pulled it out and moved it into a different county. But we've worked to get that back now into Oswego County. But I think that it's the same thing, right? So
Yes.
we had a vested interest as an entity.
Yes.
Just as they do as manufacturing entities. That's why I asked a question about what's the financial investment on their end of the program.
Yes. Yep.
I think we're kind of talking two things. We have one is the investment to create the facility that then has some sustainability over time, because that facility will have a working operation, working equipment for X amount of time, and then you also have the operating sort of expenses as well on a year-to-year basis.
Yeah.
So where are we at as far as our agenda here? This is the discussion, we're supposed to discuss this further in executive session?
Correct.
Is that the plan?
Correct.
Okay. So do we have any other questions for Brian at this point?
No, thanks for coming in.
I think so.
No, I appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah,
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, happy holidays, everyone. Thank you.
All right.
This is the economic development. Okay. How's it going?
Ready.
Okay. Red Ray Properties.
Sure.
This
So,
is one, we're just gonna get an update?
yeah, I was going to do an update. So we had originally thought this was a similar one where there was there's going to be an ownership change. What's happening with this is Randy Yurden, owner of Biospherics in the village of Parrish, is going to be retiring soon and is selling his business to another entity in the sort of the space that does this kind of equipment. It's actually a business in UK that is called Air Solutions, and there's a private equity entity involved as well. they are, at this point, they are acquiring the operating company and not the real estate holding company. So the pilot is with the real estate holding company. So at this point, our legal counsel has determined we don't actually have to take a resolution action until and unless they purchase also the real estate as well. So the way that this one was set up, it was a little bit unique. So the way that they're purchasing it, we don't actually have to take an action at this time. I do want to say though that we've had discussions with the owner of the private equity company as well as and we're getting in touch with the new CEO that's going to be coming in. And they have plans to further invest into that facility. They're not looking to move it out. They're not looking to de-invest. They're looking to invest more. They're actually looking to bring potentially products that are made in outside of the U.S. right now and have them made there as well. So it's a good project for us, and really there is them acquiring that project is going to lead to future sustainability for that business. And I know that Randy will stay involved for a certain amount of time, but at some point the plan, I believe, is for him to fully exit, and that I think is when we'll have to take our action. But no, I just want to kind of give an update there. It's an exciting thing for those who don't know. Biospherix, they make modular clean rooms. So they take a clean room that's probably about actually half the size of this table. It's about 6 foot tall, 8 foot long, 3 foot wide, and it has like those little glove things that go in there, and you can kind of do like cell cultures and all sorts of clean room stuff. So they actually do a lot of work with hospitals and developing countries where they can't necessarily afford a multi-million-dollar clean room, but they could buy $100,000 or $200,000 modular clean room and have the same ability. So it's a very cool business to have here, and interestingly, so we worked with them back in 2013. They took the former Parish Elementary School in the village of Parish, and they converted that into a manufacturing facility. So it was also a cool project where they converted a closed building that wasn't paying any taxes or anything, and they turned it into a manufacturing facility that's creating new jobs and contributing money to the local economy. So we're happy to work with them, and like I said, we were thinking, because a lot of these we have to do the resolutions for the consent to ownership change, but because of the way this is being structured, we don't actually have to take that action at this time. So and on the agenda, figured to still give you guys an update of where things are.
Okay, thank you. Anybody got any questions on that topic? Number 7, Tormco LLC, formerly TDJ Properties LLC, consent to ownership change.
Okay, sure.
Starting to be a
Yeah,
theme there.
there are a few on there. Each one's a little, each structure is a little different, but this one's different than the others as well. Here we have the Tormey family has a pilot and other benefits through us at the former Miller site. They are in the process of doing significant rebuilding and reconstruction of that building, and continue to entertain serious or significantly sized inquiries for potential manufacturing tenants. Austin in particular has been trying to ensure that they use that building for manufacturing purposes as is their intent due to the nature of those types of tenants. But they've made a change in the in the structure of the ownership of TDJ Properties. Simultaneously have changed the name. The name change does not need to be consented to, but basically what's happened is there was a non-family third party or kind of non-family partner in the original TDJ Properties LLC who has now exited. So Mike Tormey, who is in a sense the father of the kids who also have ownership, Mike Tormey would then be a majority owner of the LLC, now known as Tormco LLC. So if you're consenting to this change, this will be the ownership going forward. The company has every intention to continue to hold this building and lease it long term. So that is the consent.
Relatively minor change.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. We've been working with the other owners as principals, and they'll remain as well. So the same people we've been working with, we've never actually met this other partner. It was a partner involved with some prior business that TDJ Properties had done.
Okay.
So there was an exit plan. Now it's coming to a head. And then the second bullet point there is an extension of the sales tax exemption. We had originally set up their sales tax exemption for this project through December 31st of this year. They would like us to extend it to March 31st, just basically to allow them to continue to fully utilize it and finish this stage of the project, or their planned renovations under our benefits. So they just need a little more time. So another quarter. This isn't uncommon, especially in these days with difficulties in finding construction labor and sometimes materials. So basically a 1/4 extension. So that's what's on the resolution for consideration.
Okay, anybody got any questions on this one?
So these need to be 2 separate items voted on?
Probably should be.
Yes, I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah, they're styled.
I'll make a motion. Motion for the consent ownership change, Tim Stahl,
A second.
seconded by Tricia. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? None. Motion passes. Take a motion on the extension of the sales tax exemption. Len, second.
I'll second.
Mark. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? None. Motion passes. Thank you. Item number 8, BJA Alaska, consent to refinancing.
I can do this one. So BJ Plasky is the former FX Cabrera, now Bob Johnson Auto project. The IDA granted financial assistance in the way of both pilot agreements, and there was additional, I think it was a $300,000 loan. I think that was through FX Cabrera. But there was some financing involved as well with the acquisition between WC LLC, which was FX Cabrera's holding company, and BJA Pulaski, which is Bob Johnson's holding company. Genesee Regional Bank provided some mortgage financing. Naturally, there was an assumption of some debt there. This was all back in 2021. They are simply refinancing and restructuring some of their debt. Nothing changes, there's no ownership change here, it's just consent to refinancing. But because the IDA is entitled to the property, we have to be part of the mortgage. We've done this multiple times throughout the years for other projects. So this is strictly a consent to execute lender documents, right? And I've already received them. We've provided the attorneys for the client, the lender, with the non-recourse language related to the IDA, that we're just simply consenting. We have no financial obligation or fallback on us if things go south. So it'd be my recommendation to adopt a resolution consenting to this.
And this time, we don't have any debt with them, they don't.
No,
There's no doubt. This is strictly, and interestingly, there's only 1 year left on the pilot agreement. So they're down to a 10% abatement. But because it doesn't expire until next year, and they want to refinance, in fact, they want to close this week, or by the end of the year, it's my opinion that we needed consent. If they were in the last year of the pilot and it was expiring at the end of this month, I say just let it go, but at least there's 1 more year. They are aware of the IDA fees and legal costs and all that. They're fully accepting it and taking responsibility.
Okay.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Tricia, seconded by Mark. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? None. Motion carries. Chase Development Services, this is,
Thanks, Nick. This will be a quick update one as well. So the Chase Development Services LLC is the Connect Scare project here in the city of Oswego. Tricia, of course, knows very well. So the Chase has contemplated really from the early days of talking to them that they might bring in another partner to help with the financial aspects, of this project. Kind of typical in the real estate deal where you may have multiple firms forming a partnership. That is underway. So basically, there is a partner that would take 50% of a project LLC, which we have approved the project. This project is fully approved by the IDA. That would be a Chase Development Services or an entity to be formed, or typical language formed by or on its behalf. So there is another LLC in a sense owned by Chase that this partner would become a member of, a 50% member. They'd both be 50% members. and then bring the project together for Connect's Cares and the community's benefit. So the steps, based on the advice of council, again, we have this on the agenda in anticipation. We'd be asking for approval of this meeting, but basically due to the nature of this change, they have recommended a second public hearing, which would have been, it's already, we have authorization to hold that public hearing from the initial resolution we passed several months, or last fall, or this past fall. So between now and the January meeting, we'll hold another public hearing and then come to the board in the January meeting with a omnibus resolution to make this, basically to amend the ownership of the company that has the approved benefits from us.
Okay.
And I've checked with LaChase about the timing of this because Connect's Care, the ultimate occupant of the building, or majority occupant of the building, will be is waiting for a CON from the Department of Health, and Tricia certainly knows more about this than me. But Greg let me know that this schedule should not interfere with your CON schedule with the January meeting approval. So. Because they've not closed this deal, and our consent should be granted before they close.
Waiting for the CON to close, or?
Yeah.
The
For us.
purchase agreement with Pathfinder Bank is contingent on approved certificate of need, so they go hand in hand together.
Okay.
And we haven't gotten that yet.
So anyway, the timing doesn't create
Soon,
any issues.
So, well, it's the state sometime, I think,
Seen
June,
others take a long time.
February. Yeah, ours has been in for a while, so we anticipate sometime in January we'll hear about it.
So we'll come back to the board in January for approval of
Alright.
that.
Is this another company within LaChase, or is it?
It's separate, it's different, good question. They're different owners. We have, of course, corporate documents, things, but it's a single member, individual owner of this new LLC. I don't want to say it right now, but they have done other projects together with LaChase. So while they're different ownership groups or ownership individual compared to LaChase, that's multiple owners, they have worked together in the past.
It's just informational, nothing we need to vote on.
Correct.
Today, yeah, we'll have a resolution or a vote at the January meeting. So.
Okay. Anything else on that?
No, that's it. Thanks, Nick.
Okay. Number 10, Phoenix Scripple Wastewater Treatment and Conveyance Project, authorization to amend intermunicipal agreement.
So I'm just gonna give Dave Turner a call here real quick. He couldn't attend in person, and I said I'd get him on between 9 and 9:30. We're right at 9:30, so perfect timing. So what we are looking at here, what we're asking to do is we have an updated. Hey Dave, this is Austin with the IDA.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. So you're on live. What we are looking at is an updated intermunicipal agreement by between the town of Schuylkill, County of Oswego, Village of Phoenix, and the County of Oswego Industrial Development Agency. This was we are looking at this because the county is trying to assist the project, help them with some of the professional kind of service and skills that the county has to kind of get this project over the finish line. And to be able to do that, they needed to update and revise that intermunicipal agreement that was previously entered into back in 2021, which the IDA was a partner to. I looked at this.
So
Yep.
the actual most important part is, like one of the HUD grant is granted to the county, but most of the other grants go to the village. And as you know, most of these state grants are based on reimbursement once you've spent the money, and sometimes not until the project is complete. Well, the village doesn't have the capital resources to lay all that money out and wait for the state to get around to pay them back. So that's the most important part about why we made the change, to allow us to manage the project and then make the payments. And when we file for reimbursement or help the village file for reimbursement, they'll just transfer the money to us.
So it doesn't change anything in terms of the way that the IDA would operate within the project, but because we were original signer, we need to sort of, reauthorize and reapprove the updated intermunicipal agreement. And Dave, can you answer if the other entities, the town of Schuylkill and Village of Phoenix, have they signed yet, or have they expressed that they are signing the new document?
So I have a hard copy signed by the town.
copy for you to sign, and then we'll have one that's got all original signatures on it.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no real change that affects you guys.
Any questions for Dave? Technically, Foley, do you want to ask anything from a legal perspective?
No, just to be clear, the responsibility as contained in the intermunicipal agreement is for the idea to get up to $1 million to the project. I mean, there is reference to the acquisition of the 200 plus minus acres adjacent, but the responsibility is contained in the agreement, hasn't changed from the IDA's perspective.
Okay. And this will move things along faster too, right, Dave?
Pardon me?
He wanted to ask if this will help to move things along faster, Dave.
Yeah, because if the village, well, I don't know how the village could do it financially, and they might have had to, like a non-anticipation note, to have money available to pay all the bills, and then wait for the refunds to come back. And I don't know about you guys, but we have projects that the state hasn't reimbursed us in years. Like we finished that Valmy Airport Owens Road project in 21, and last week I got a notice that the DEC finally had authorized transfer of the $200,000 they owe us for that project.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions for
That
Dave?
money, if you owe that money, you're screwed. You better just be patient.
You're in public session right now, Dave. Any other questions for Dave? If not, thank you, Dave. We appreciate your time this morning.
Okay, thanks guys.
All right.
Thanks, Dave.
Take care.
Yeah, bye.
So we are requesting a vote to authorize amending our signing the amend intermunicipal agreement.
Okay, motion.
Second.
Motion by Mark, seconded by Tim. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. But we need to go into executive session. Kevin, for what reasons this time?
Typical, under the Public Officers Law, Section 105, is to discuss the financial history of a particular person, corporation. That's it.
Okay. Would someone like to make a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Mark, second.
I'll second.
Tricia, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're live.
Okay, can I get a motion to come out of executive session, please?
I'll move it.
Len, seconded by Mark. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are out of executive session at 10:45. First item on the agenda is City BOCES P-TECH CMA Lab support. And I'd like to get a motion to approve supporting the project with $100,000 in financial support.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Tim and Len. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Organic earth laning, micro enterprise loan for reductions to $12,500. Considering the terms discussed in executive session. Can someone make that motion?
So moved.
Mark,
I'll second.
Tricia, second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Pilot EF report, we need to make a motion on that? I don't think so at this point, right? Delinquent loan report, motion to accept the delinquent loan report as presented.
I'll make a motion.
Trish and Glenn. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Motion passes. The delinquent pilot, Kevin, can you read the language we're gonna ask for a resolution for here?
Certainly, this is a resolution authorizing legal action to be taken against Lake Ontario Property Associates to pursue all delinquent pilot payments owed for property located at 300 State Route 104 in the city of Oswego.
Thank you. Can I get a motion in that regard?
So moved.
Mark Greco, second.
I'll second.
Len? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Any other business?
No other business report?
Next meeting date?
I think we're looking at the end of January. We had to do this a little bit early for the holidays, but we'd like to kind of get back to the end so that way we can get on schedule where we get our financial statements and everything else. That is a challenge when we do it a little early in the month. So looking at possibly the either Tuesday the 23rd, Wednesday the 24th, January the 25th, Thursday the January 25th.
I can do the 23rd and the 25th. I can't do the 24th.
Works for me.
Does the 25th work for everybody else?
Sure.
25th's good with me.
Okay,
8:30 again?
that works for everybody?
Yep.
And that should work for our schedule, Kevin?
Yeah.
In terms of public hearings and things we would need to do? Okay, so we'll get a, we'll send a calendar invite on that, immediately following this meeting. I'll have Karen do that.
Okay. And can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Mark and Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Approved.
Kevin.
At 10:48.
Also, that was the 25th, right?
Yes, Thursday, 25th. So I'm just gonna turn off the meeting here. 10:48.